Okay, so our table is ready and we are almost good to go, but there are still a couple of things I wanted to point out with this. And the first thing is that for now our table displays sample data. If we want to fill it with something that is real, we can do so really quickly using plugins. So if you happen to have the real data in an XML file or in a Google Sheets document, like I do, you can use the Google Sheets Sync plugin to pull this data into your Figma designs in no time. Here is my Google Sheets document, and you can find a link to it in the description. As you can see, I have separate columns for names, states, or phone numbers. Before we can use the plugin, we have to make sure our layer names match names of the columns in our Google Sheets table. Normally, I would have to go and rename each text layer separately, but since we are using a local component, we can rename text layers in here just once, as layer names are also inherited in all its instances of this component. How convenient is that? And so if I want data from the name column to be displayed here, I will need to rename this text layer to full name. And by putting the hash sign at the beginning of your text layer, this is how you let the plugin know that this is where it should be pulling data into. Moving on, for the email address, I'll use email address. And for state, I'll simply type in state. And for the phone number, it's just phone. You can even use the plugin to pull in images. Let's try it out with this picture right here. All I have to do is rename the image layer so that it matches the name of the column with image links. In my case, it's simply a photo. Okay, that should do it. Let's try it out. I'll select the whole table and I'll open up the plugin. And in here, I'll just paste the link into my Google Sheets document. And I'll just click Fetch and Sync to let the magic happen. Now look at this, isn't this magic? I truly love this plugin. Okay, but let's try one more. In case we don't have photos of our friends because, let's say they aren't real, we can use the awesome Blush plugin from Pablo Stanley to help us out with some high quality illustrations. So first, let me select all images here by clicking on them while holding down Shift and Command key. Alright, and then I'll open up the Blush plugin. And let's see, yeah, this set of illustrations looks interesting. So under the characters section, I'll click on the avatar, and then I'll click the shuffle button to randomly generate different illustrations for each instance of the profile picture. And I could spend hours and hours on generating these illustrations randomly. This is just a lot of fun. Okay, so another thing is that you might be asking yourself, what do I do with all these boilerplate and local components we created along the way? And the answer is, well, you can delete them, but it's up to you. Once you assemble your table, you will no longer need to use local components, so you can just remove them. And if you'll ever need to change anything about your table, you can just drag it outside while holding down an Option key and then click Restore Component. And this is because as long as there is at least one instance of any component, you can always restore its main instance. That's just how Figma works, at least for now. But me, personally, I like to keep my local components, and I tend to do that on a special page that I create in every Figma file, and I call it local components or component overrides. It is because with time I found out that this way is easier for my fellow designers to understand what is going on with all those local components and where they can edit them. Which brings me to the third point I wanted to mention briefly, education. Since this way of working with tables in Figma has some learning curve and might be a little overwhelming for newcomers, you might consider adding a brief explanation on how to use it. An example of what I consider a good place for that might be a description that Figma lets us provide for each component. I have already used this in my previous episode, so let me just paste a sample description here into my default content component. It says, swap this with a local component that holds your content. Pretty simple. Let me also add a brief description for my row component as well, and it can go like this. To change the content of the row component, swap the content inside with your local component. And while I think this should do it for now, of course you can add more in-depth explanation later on wherever you like to keep your components documentation. Feel free to paste the link to this video as well. After all, that's why I'm doing this. And finally, if you're watching this and hopefully a few weeks from now once interactive components are available in Figma to everyone or happen to be in the beta right now, you can make your table interactive by setting up interactions in your row components. And in order to do that, I will switch into the prototype mode and I'll select these two variants right there. To bulk add an interaction with a hover state, we can click here, then go into interaction details. I'm going to change the on-click trigger to while hovering, and over here I'll select change to. This lets us see all the properties of our component, so from here it's just a matter of changing the state property to hover. Let's just make sure to enable preserve scroll position. And finally, for the selectable row, I'll select the checkbox component in the hover state, and then I will simply connect it with the active state. And I will do the same from the active state back to the default state to be able to deselect a row as well. Now let's go into the presentation mode, take a moment and admire what we have just done. And here it is. Alright, so I think that is it for this video series. If you've managed to stay with me up to this point, I would like to thank you very much for your attention, and I hope you did find at least some of this helpful. Before I say goodbye, a quick reminder that there are still 5 videos ahead of us in this YouTube channel. And the next up is Markdown in Figma, and this might come in handy if you're designing for dynamic content. If you want to make sure you're not going to miss it, feel free to follow me on Twitter or subscribe to this YouTube channel. And in the meantime, thanks for watching, take care and happy iterating!